Governor Kristi Noem of South Dakota is with us right now. She never stops working. And Governor, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. How close is South Dakota back to normal, if I could even use that term anymore?
Well, we're on the way back to normal. We never did shut down our businesses. We never told our people to shelter in place. What we did was give them an opportunity to be innovative, to care for their customers and their employees. And so I think South Dakota is doing better than a lot of other states as far as slowing down the spread, but also our economy and our small business owners. So we're in a phase now where we're still advising our vulnerable population to stay home. We need those that are older or have some pre-existing health conditions to stay at home, to socially distance, but then allowing people some opportunities to really continue the economic activity that we need to survive.
Yeah, Governor, we're hearing all these stories about the meat packing plants that are closing down. We interviewed you a few weeks ago about that, what happened at Smithfield. What's the update on that? And is your state, are you rationing your meat now? We did a story that Costco, you can only buy three things of meat, and some of the other grocery stores, Kroger, some other grocery stores around the country. What's the update on that?
Well, one of the things we do best in South Dakota is grow the nation's food and the world's food. So we do have an abundance yet, but we are concerned about getting these plants back online. And we're expecting the plants in South Dakota to get back online here in a matter of days. The state has stepped up and provided personal protective equipment. The federal government's helped us make sure we have the testing capability to aggressively go after any kind of hot spots we might see in the future. And so we believe we're prepared.
Right, and some of the hot spots there in your state have been around the meat packing plants. And I know yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, you were on a conference call with Vice President Pence and all of the other governors, and you were talking about your roadmap back to normal, whatever that's going to look like going forward. But, you know, as a Republican governor, Governor Noem, how would you describe the dynamic between the way some Democratic governors are handling this and how some Republican governors are handling it? Because I've heard some analysts say, you know, they're both on different pages. And why would that be?
Well, I think all of us need to go back and look at what's best for our states. And our states are very diverse, very different. South Dakota is not like New York. It's not like New Jersey. And so I need to make different decisions than they are, but I also know that this is an important time. It's an important time that will show us what kind of leadership we have in this country, and if we understand the foundations of this country and what makes us great. So we should do what we can to believe in our people, to make the best decisions for public health, and make sure that we're taking all consequences into consideration when we're making our decisions, looking at mental health, looking at our economy, what that does to putting food on the table for our families, as well as public health, and then making the best decision to keep people safe.
Governor, give me an idea of what you look like. I know the federal government gave out guidelines. They didn't say it was the letter of the law, but gave out guidelines. When do you think restaurants will get back to capacity? When do you think people go to movie theaters in South Dakota? Give us an idea of what it looks like to be a South Dakota resident.
Well, our projections in South Dakota have always been based around how we can take care of people should they need to be in the hospital, should they need ventilators. And we won't hit our peak need until mid-June. So I'm advising South Dakota that we still need to change a little bit of our behaviors until we get past that peak, until we know we've got this under control. We're feeling better every day because we have more testing, we have more knowledge and understand the science of this virus more. That all prepares us to deal with it in the future. And I've told them all to be flexible. We have to continue to be nimble, to make adjustments wherever we see a hot spot that we need to address. I'll give them flexibility where I can, but when we have a situation, I'm going to advise them that they need to start social distancing, that they need to make sure the vulnerable population is protected.
When you say you don't think you'll hit your peak, you mean you think it's going to get worse in your state and it's going to be worse in a month?
We have always said that in South Dakota that we are behind the rest of the country as far as when we think our peak hospitalization rate will be. And so I know a lot of people get distracted by positive cases of COVID-19. I've tried to focus my state on the fact that we need to focus on hospitalizations, because that's who I have to take care of. We will see more cases. We will see more positive cases. I need to make sure I can take care of those that might need elevated levels of care. And so that's how I've talked to the folks here in South Dakota. They understand that that peak need might be in June yet. And so we've got a road in front of us that is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So we're going to hang in there, do what's right, and our people understand personal responsibility in all of this.
Right. Of course, Ainsley, Bryan, and I are all in the hot zone. We're in New Jersey and New York as well. Describe, if you would, Governor, just what it looks like on the street. You're in Pear, South Dakota right now. You know, here in New Jersey, whenever you go outside, you're supposed to wear a mask, and you got to keep a distance. How does it look where you are? Because we know you have not had nearly the number of cases that we have, but at the same time, you've got some very rational and measured approaches to social distancing and responsible behavior.
I think it depends on where you are in South Dakota. I'm in Pierre in the capital, and folks are, running their essential errands. We've got some folks going back to work that are still practicing social distancing in their workplace. So people are living their lives, although they do change their behaviors, and that's to protect other people as well as their families. They recognize that we do have folks that if they catch this virus, they will get very sick, and they're doing what's right for them. You get into our larger cities, you'll see a lot more people wearing masks. A lot more of the vulnerable population is staying home, and we appreciate that because that's the safest place for them. That's the safest place where they can be to make sure that they're not going to get exposed to the virus. And that's where the majority of our cases have been. 2/3 of our state has little to none activity whatsoever as far as the virus. Most of our cases are in Sioux Falls and that area where we have quite a few infections, and those folks there are taking extra precautions.
Governor Kristi Noem, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.